morning. Good morning. I'm Sue Ronenkamp, also known as Sage Sue, and I'm back for another video all about Age Thrive, aging well, and owning our aging in positive, meaningful, and empowering ways. In other words, conscious aging, where we really dive in and get into it, take part in this experience. So today I'm starting a new monthly series called Best Practices for Thriving with Age. And I'll be coming to you at least monthly with one new best practice to help us kind of focus in on what we can do. And again, the things that we can take charge of, control of, be responsible for during this time of our lives. I got this idea from Adam Grant. I'm following a daily calendar right now from Adam Grant. He is a psychologist, he's a professor, he's an author, and he wrote a few weeks ago on his calendar, many best practices were created for a world that no longer exists. And I'd also add for an age that no longer exists. Best practices that we took on when we were young adults, or even in the middle of our lives, may not fit for us now. He writes, in the face of change, the routines that once moved you forward often become the ruts that hold you back. And that's that whole issue of locking in too much on anything we do as we grow older. We have to be flexible and respond to the time and age that we're in and keep doing this over and over again. So the first practice that I want to talk about today is a big one for me. It's called Sense and Adjust. Kind of drink that in. Sense and adjust. I think the big question, key question for this practice is, what's right for me now? What's right for me now? And using a lot of discernment to really look at a situation or something we're into right now. And again, say, what's right and what's not right for me now at this age, at this place in time that I'm in. Let me give you a couple of quick examples. One, I was summoned a few weeks ago for jury duty here in Denver. It's the first jury summons I've gotten here in Colorado. So when I got it, I thought, oh, okay, I've done this before. Done it in other major cities. I've done it in Austin, Texas. I've done it in San Antonio, Texas. I've done it in Philadelphia. I can do it. I can do it here too. So the night before you're supposed to appear, you call in to a hotline and they tell you if your number has been selected for appearance for jury duty. And I was so relieved that my number was not selected, that I was off the hook. What it really hit me was just because I was able to handle driving into the city, driving into the new parking situation, new part of town, getting there early in the morning, which I'm not an early morning person, and handling that doesn't mean I can do that as easily now. So I immediately thought, if this happens again, I'm going to arrange transportation. So if I do need to appear, I will let somebody else drive me there and pick me up. So that's kind of a sense and adjust change that I know I need to make at this age, because my anxiety level was really high that night thinking about having to do that the following morning. Another example, how I exercise now. I've been exercising basically all my adult life, but I have continued to make changes to how I exercise. At midlife, I was doing a lot of high impact aerobics, and I realized my joints just weren't going to hold up if I did that, so I shifted to a lot of lower impact exercise, but still pretty intense. The past few years, I'm seeing that I really need to bring on, sorry, that's our dog, one of our dogs barking in the background, that I needed to bring more stretching into my life, more really low impact things that would still benefit my body, but didn't have to be as intense as it once was. Another change. Third change that I'm experiencing right now is I'm in caregiving mode right now. Now it's for a dog, and some of you think, well, that's not the same thing as caregiving for someone, a loved one, but it is. I'm having to make a lot of shifts and changes to adapt to where my dog is with his congestive heart failure, with changes in medication, being on diuretics, sometimes getting me up in the middle of the night, a lot of sensing and adjusting. And I could say, hey, I don't want to do this, but that's just what we do when we're taking care of a loved one of any kind, is we make some shifts and changes. So those are just 3 examples of how you can bring the Sense and Adjust practice into play. I also created a number of years ago this Sense and Adjust assessment tool. And I really, really strongly advise you to maybe go through this at least once a year. Excuse me, it's allergy time too. And fall is great. We're in the fall of life, so it's a great time to at least sit down with this tool once a year and walk through all the questions and kind of see where you're at right now, because these things don't stay stable as we get older. There are constantly things and changes that we have to adapt to, sense and adapt to, adjust to as we grow older. If you'd like a copy of this tool, just send me a quick email at agethrive@gmail.com, and I'd be happy to send you. No charge. It's a free assessment tool. Lastly, I want to just bring up a great quote that I read that ties right into this. And this quote says, "We have to practice a practice for it to be of value." It's not something we can just hear and then go about our business. No, we need to bring these best practices into play for us and for our lives. So think about that in the coming weeks. Again, if you want the assessment tool, just send me an email, agethrive@gmail.com. And then just remember this big kind of basic best practice that we're focusing on. We'll be focusing on in the months to come, with the number 1 being Sense and Adjust today. I hope you have a great week. I hope you enjoy fall, one of my favorite times of year. But it can also be our favorite time of life if we really come into it fully and consciously. So next time we'll talk about another best practice. Have a fabulous week. Hope you're all doing well. Go for it.